Joaquin, great to see you. How are you today?
Great to see you, Romeo. I'm very sorry for everybody for the delay. You might imagine that this is very busy on this side of the world. Things are getting very busy, and well, we have great news again to show to public. So I'm very pleased to be here. Um, I will share my screen, Romeo, and you give me a thumbs up
Perfect. So I'll let you
if
know once I can see it, then I will disappear until question time.
just let me know if it's been shared.
Looks great.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds perfect. So let's start with our presentation today. Thank you everybody for being joining us. Again, for those who have been waiting for a couple of minutes, my apologies for being late. I have been in meetings since very early this morning. I am pleased to bring to you some news from today, September 23 of 2025. And we have released a successful step out, and we are also presenting a new target, which is called Atenea. This target has been drilled, and we have some successful results in there. So let's go into the presentation, and there are some forward-looking statements that you will see here. Please have in mind that you will be able to ask some questions afterwards, so I would be very happy to answer those. The news release that we put out today are titled, as you can see, that the company has drilled 545 grams per ton over 43.2 meters, including 1,302 grams per ton over 8 meters. And this is a very important drill hole for us because it is a step out that it's 70 meters away from the existing resource. So it is a very long step out, if you want to call it like that, or a very distant step out. And the other thing that we are announcing, it's this new target that we have defined through different tools, and now we have drilled. And this drilling, it's telling us that there's silver. So we hit 2 meters with 314 grams per ton of silver in this new target that it's called Atenea. And I will explain this a little bit more in 1 minute. I want to show you this. This is in our web presentation. Obviously, we are going to update this very soon. But you can see here the history or the company timeline, and how the company has been evolving since its inception. We came out to the market at 15 cents, and since then things have been going really well for the company. We have the strategic investment of Eduardo Elstein announced in March, and it was completed in May. And we obviously started exploration in January, but I think that it's very important to highlight that in May, June, and July we were starting to drill, and since July we have been putting out results. And this is the third batch of results that we are putting out, and you can see how the market is reacting to the results of this winter program that we have completed a week or a week and a half ago. So this program is already done. There is no more drilling at the moment in El Quebar. We are starting to prepare for the upcoming season. The upcoming season, it's going to be summer in Argentina. It's going to be in between October and May of next year, October of this year and May of next year. And this summer season will see approximately 15,000 meters of drilling. So we are starting to prepare all this. We will disclose hopefully more information, and we will show you more information about this program soon. The important thing to highlight here is that this share price that we have had, this run up that we have had, it's also being reflected into our market cap. So the market cap As you can see on this graphic, it's now much bigger than the one that we had a year ago. We started this company with a market cap of approximately 15 to 20 million dollars, and today, with the share price trading at $1, our market cap it's approximately 250 million dollars. It took us to create all that value. It's obvious that the market is working with us, that the silver prices are very, very good and are helping us, but it took us $5.5 million since the very beginning of the year to have this superb value creation. And that's because we are being very, very careful with the money that we have. We think and we believe, we are confident that the most important resource that we have is the money from our investors, from our shareholders, and we want to create return on investment on every dollar that we have. That's why we are being so precise on targeting and so careful on working out things at Elkevar. So for those who are not familiar with the capital share structure, a quarter of the company is in hands of two billionaires and very well recognized people in the industry, Frank Justra and Eduardo Elstein. Frank Justra is from Canada, Eduardo Elstein is from Argentina. At this moment, we still having approximately $24 million in working capital, no pending payments and no debt. And we have some institutions that came on the last bulk deal that we had, and the remaining it's retail. So here you can see the drill holes that have been completed during this winter program. We ended up drilling over 4,000 meters. We drilled 4,240 something meters. So it is translated in 16 holes, pardon me. And these 16 holes are located in this area that you can see in the image. The ones that we are disclosing in this news release are QBD 414, 415, 416, and 417. The other ones with labels are the ones that we disclosed in previous news releases, and the ones that don't have a label, that are only 6 drill holes, those are pending results from the laboratory. So we are waiting for those results. As soon as we have them, we will be posting those news out. We hope to get them back probably by early October or late October or early and late of October. So stay tuned and watch out for the news because there should be more news coming out for those drill holes. So these 4 drill holes that we are putting out are very important for us. You can see that QED 415 was drilled again on the up deep of the resource. This was intended to be testing the upper boundary of the resource. With that, we have validated the model, the 3D geological model. QBD 414, super important drill hole. This was the step out that was 70 meters away from the boundary of the current resource, which was successful. We will talk about that one in a second. And then it's a QBD 416 and QBD 417. These were drilled in the new target that we call Atenea. So Atenea, it's giving us a lot of light in an area that hasn't been drilled before. And it's very important because one of these drill holes came back with 2 meters with a grade of 314 grams per ton of silver. So it's telling us that there's silver. And the other one came with anomalous silver values. When I say that, it means that the values are not the same as the rest of the rock, as the remain of the rock in the drill hole. The values are telling us that fluids or some mineralization might be in that area. So this is giving us some hints on where to go next. The next slide that I want to share with you is the slide that it's showing actually the drill hole QVD 414. You can see how far it's from the existing resource, and it's very important to remember that the resource itself, I don't know if you can see my cursor, Romeo?
We can. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So the resource, most of the resource, the boundary is somewhere here. So this area here, it hasn't been fully included in the resource because it hasn't been properly infilled. So that's why we drilled QVD 412, which was drilling in a gap in between the drilling. There was a 60-meter gap, and that was a very successful drill hole. If you remember, it was a drill hole with 40 meters at 1,026 grams per ton of silver. And in there was a 1 meter with 18,467 grams per ton of silver. So QVD 12 was a fantastic drill hole in that gap of 60 meters diameter. And it's telling us that we need to keep drilling those gaps. We need to keep infilling there. But now QVD 414 that has been drilled 70 meters away from the resource, it's giving us these fantastic values. And here you can see that the highlight of this drill hole, it's those 8 meters at 1,302 grams per ton of silver. There are other intercepts that are very high grade, as you can see, 7 meters at 905 grams per ton of silver. But the overall, it's those 43.2 meters with 545 grams per ton of silver. So the spreadsheet of this news release is the one that I'm showing you here. Here you can see drill holes QVD 415, 16, and 17 as well. And you might say, hey, this is not okay. We don't like to see 1 gram or 2 grams or 3 grams of silver per ton in these drill holes. But remember, these are exploratory drill holes. These drill holes are coming back with a lot of information that it's super useful for us. And in general, the rock in El Quebar has 0 silver. So when you see this amount of silver in a rock, it means something, and it's telling us that we have to keep drilling the area because there might be more around. So having just a little bit of silver, it's telling us that we need to keep drilling the area and that these targets are worth to be followed up. So here you can see QVD 416. It was very shallow, the hit, and it's 2 meters at 314 grams per ton. The previous drills that we disclosed before are the ones that you can see on the screen. And as we explained before, these drills are very important as well. We have a step out on the left side of the image that was also successful step out, some confirmation drill holes, and an up deep drill hole. When I mention an up deep drill hole, it means that it's drilled on the up deep portion of the resource. The resource, we don't know properly if it continues or not up to surface in some areas, and that's why we need to keep drilling up deep to understand that. QVD 413 was successful on telling us that we should keep drilling a little bit up deep to try to define more mineralization up deep. So it's very important to understand the meaning of the drill holes. So the confirmation drill holes are helping us to see fresh rock that it's coming out from the ground now. The rock that we have been relogging has been sitting outside on the courtyard for over 10 years. And there are some things that might be degraded. So we needed to do that, those confirmation holes, to understand a lot of technicalities from the rock. The successful step outs that we have drilled now, they are telling us that the deposit continue, that it is open in both ends, and that we should keep drilling that. Well, the successful up drill hole, I just explained that, is testing the upper portion of the deposit. The successful infill drill holes, as I mentioned before, are testing those gaps that we have in the resource and that's a lot of rock that needs to be tested. And with this infill, we are starting to fill those gaps that we have in the resource. So before finishing, I want to say that we are going to embark ourselves now in a much larger program. This has been the end of the foundational program of Argenta Silver. We were creating this foundational program where we put together the database. We relog a lot of info of drill core. We gather a lot of information. We created a 3D model. We reinterpret the deposit. Then we drill these 4,000 meters that have been completed last week. And with that, now we have a lot of information to move on into this much larger season. There are 6 drill holes still pending results from the lab. As I say, I hope that they will be coming in between early October and late October. And well, hopefully we will have more news for everybody.
Awesome, Joaquin, thank you so much. Now, as I mentioned, I've got some questions to go through, but there are already some great questions in the chat. For folks in the room, especially those who came midway through the presentation, there's a chat button on the bottom right of your screen. You're welcome to ask questions at any point during the remainder of the event. We'll get to as many as we can today. But Joaquin, one thing I want to just start off with, obviously these are impressive drill results, extending that deposit 70 meters to the northwest, discovering the Atenea target. How do you overall, I know you touched on this, but I'd love it just to a fine point, how do you see these findings shaping Argenta's strategy for Alcovar?
Well, this is crucial, Romy, because for us now to hit this step out 70 meters away from the resource, it's giving us direction. So, you know, this you could draw a line on top of the resource and you could say this continues, but there is always a question mark. Is that really, was that really what was happening or not? Now that we have drilled this 70-meter step out, that question mark, it's been solved. So now we know that it continues, that we need to keep drilling on this trend. And as well on the other side, where the other step out was also successful. So it's telling us that in both ends still open. So the strategy here will be to work a lot on the resource expansion, and as well with the successful results like the one on Atenea. This is telling us that we need to keep exploring those targets that are surrounding the project or the resource, and not only that, it's telling us that we can create new targets with the information that we have, and that these newly created targets might be successful as the Atenea target.
Great. I know you mentioned that upcoming 12,000 to 15,000 meter drilling program for this summer. That's got that 40-60 split between expansion and new discoveries. I was curious if you could just share with the investors in the room, what's your strategic thinking behind that allocation, and what should investors be expecting from each part of that program?
Sure. So the resource itself has seen 70 to 75 or maybe 80% of the whole drilling in the property historically. Mm-hmm. So historically, 80% of the drilling went into the resource area. And there has been very little exploration done outside of the resource. Only 3% of the property has been properly explored. Mm-hmm. So what we need to do now is we need to balance the equation, because the potential of new discoveries is huge. And we have some low-hanging fruit, which is the resource expansion. So the allocation here will be 40% into the resource expansion, that we will be working towards these step outs and trying to fill these gaps and trying to extend the deposit as much as we can. So that's going to be 40% of the allocation of capital will go into resource expansion, and 60% will be allocated into aggressive exploration outside of the resource. That means that we will be looking around the resource and outside of the resource, and even in some areas that have never been explored before. So there is a lot of ground to cover, and this dual strategy, it's something that we can run parallel and simultaneously. So we can do resource expansion, and at the same time we can start exploring the other areas, trying to find new targets or trying to find new deposits. And it's very interesting because it's always going to be staged or
Sure.
step by step, right? Because when we drill these target exploration areas, we can be working on surface in some other zones, and soon after we can start drill those areas as well, and then we can move our surface team to other places. So each of the programs will run simultaneously, and that's the strategy behind that, trying to add a lot of value through resource expansion while trying to make a new discovery through exploration.
Great. And one thing, I mean, it is crazy that only 3% of Alquivar's, those 57,000 hectares, have been explored. But given the success you're having with new targets like Etnea, what's exciting you most about the untapped potential across the property?
Well, we have just been working around the silver area. When you this is a silver resource, right? And
Sure.
our surface samples, our soils, are telling us that there are some sniffs of gold of a larger system in El Quivar. So what we need to do is we need to start moving away from this thing that it's so rich. And you know, it's like the golden pot. You don't want to leave the golden pot. You want to stay there. You don't want to go anywhere. You want to stay there. But that's why we are going to put only 40% of our capital there. We need to go away from there. We need to start looking in other areas. Atenea is telling us something. Atenea, it didn't exist before. We created this target during the month of February or March or something like that. We created this new target with a lot of information that we had. We put things in 3D, and we discovered this beautiful area that could have a lot of potential. Well, we have drilled there. We are starting to see that there are some anomalous values in silver, and it's very encouraging. So now we are starting to ask the big question: what is out there that nobody has seen before?
Exciting. No, looking forward to seeing more. One thing I want to talk about is infrastructure, because I know El Quivar's got pretty great infrastructure with 60 kilometers of internal roads, a 100-worker camp, railroad, power lines. Somebody said to me recently, I forget who, said visible gold is sexy, but a highway is sexier, which I like as a line. As I'm curious, how significant do you think the infrastructure advantage is for Argenta's property in de-risking the project, but also accelerating development?
So let's not think about El Quivar for 1 second.
Sure.
Let's think about a mine, and let's not think about a mineral. We are not thinking now about the mineral. We are just thinking about the operation itself. That operation, right? Let's put that operation on a white paper. And now I need to go with that operation of white paper and put it somewhere on a map. So if you put that somewhere where there are no roads, where there are no electricity, where there is no railroads, okay, it means that it's isolated like an island on the ocean. Now I need to start building things, and to build things to connect that blank paper with the operation on top in the middle of a map. That will cost me a lot of money.
Sure.
But in this case, this is completely different, right? So here we have a railroad, a road, a power line, a gas pipeline. We have the full support of the community that is in front of us. They are sourcing us with a lot of very, very good human workforce. And this has a very important meaning, because it means that if there is mineral, if we find enough mineral to make a mine, we don't need to invest in a road, in a gas pipeline, in a power line, in all these things that are already built there. So it's a lot of capital that we won't sunk on the ground, that we won't put there, because it's already there. It's been built for us. Some people has been asking me, would you put this kind of operation or this other kind of operation in the project? And I'm saying, look, I have energy, I have a railroad, I have to be very strategic in the future and see what I can do with those. But we could concentrate mineral, put it on the train, and just bring it down the mountain. That's easy. I have the railroad there. The train goes every week through that railroad. It's fully operational. We have a camp for 100 people that it's fully prepared for high winds, for winter conditions, for the summer. We have everything there, and we have probably now over, I don't know, around 80 kilometers of internal roads with the last kilometers of roads that we have been building up on El Quivar to get to new targets. So all these roads and all this infrastructure, at the end of the day, it's money from our shareholders that we are not going to be spending on infrastructure, that we will spend on meters to be drilled or something else in the future.
Great. So I want to zoom out for a second before I get into one last question of mine. You got the robust resource base, nearly 50 million ounces, these strong drill results behind you. What are the key milestones investors should be watching for over the next year as you continue to advance El Quivar?
So I think, first of all, the 4,000 meters have been completed, but we haven't disclosed everything because we don't have the results yet. So first milestone, we need to wait for those results to come out. Secondly, I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how this summer in Argentina evolves in terms of the rigs that we will be bringing in, the amount of work that we will be putting in, how much surface we can cover, and our goal here is to keep drilling the resource. I think that's going to be crucial. And to expand ourselves on surface as much as we can to cover the most amount of area and to define a lot of targets that can be drilled in upcoming seasons. We already have targets for the exploration, 60% that I was talking. We have already those targets very well defined, and we are now starting to plan how we are going to address those targets. I think that not everything is aligning really well for us at this moment, and the markets are very helpful.
Sure.
I think that the results, it's the most important that shareholders should be watching for.
Awesome. Yeah, certainly the price of silver this week doesn't hurt any silver story. Absolutely. I've got one more question before I jump into the great questions in the chat. I did notice Argentina was not included in this year's Fraser Institute Mining Jurisdiction Survey, which, to be honest, I was surprised to see. My question to you is, from your experience operating in Salta, how would you characterize the current mining investment climate in Argentina, and what do you think are advantages of operating there, despite anything else that might be going on in the region?
Well, first of all, we need to distinguish something. Argentina, it's a multi-jurisdictional location. Argentina per se, it's not a mining jurisdiction. It's multi-jurisdictional. It's like Canada. You cannot tell, or like the United States, you cannot tell that the United States is more or less mining when you have different states and different provinces like Canada. In Argentina, we have provinces. Every one of these provinces has different regulations or some different procedures actually that tell you how to move on your mining operations. But there is a legal framework that it's national, where the provinces are supported, right? But every province is a jurisdiction. Salta didn't come up on the Fraser Institute this year, which was a huge surprise for everybody. And the logic behind this, it's probably because the lithium industry has been falling down sharply. Sure. And the Fraser Institute, it counts the amount of mentions that are done on a province. So if I interview you, Romeo, I ask you, where would you go to invest, and you don't mention Salta because you are not in the lithium industry now, then I'm not going to get it included there.
Sure.
And the metalliferous companies that are working in the province are not that much, because it is the heart of the lithium triangle, and it has been attracting a lot of attention from metalliferous companies. But it has been attracting a lot from lithium companies. I have to say that working in Salta, it's amazing. It's a great thing. I wouldn't think in Argentina on the best place to work, probably San Juan or maybe Santa Cruz in Argentina, but Salta, it's great because You have the communities that are super supportive. They understand very, very well what it's mining. You have a lot of services in the province. The government understands perfectly how mining works. And most importantly, they understand how the market works. So they understand when they need to fast track things or when they need to reduce the pace, because they understand how markets work, how things work in the international level. And there is something else that we already mentioned. The province itself, it has a huge amount of infrastructure, and the workforce coming from Salta, it's very highly skilled and it's premium quality. So we are using a lot of workforce from Salta. 90% of our contractors are from the province. 50% of our employees are from the local communities. And I would say that probably 80% of the total workforce is from the province of Salta. So if you ask me what do I think about Salta, I think that it's a fantastic location to go. There are no cartels, no armed conflicts, no problems. It has an international airport with connections to everywhere. Our project is located 4 hours from the capital city, so you can go make a visit on the day and get back on the same day to the city if you are taking somebody to visit the project. I think that it's a fantastic province to be, and we are still surprised why it didn't come up on the Fraser Institute. I believe that probably it's because the lithium industry has been hit very badly with the prices of lithium in the market.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's an interesting take. I'm going to jump to a couple of select questions from the audience before we call it today. Colder asks, what prompted you to do a 70-meter step out? Did you have a hunch, or was there specific data suggesting it'd be a good idea? And if so, do you have additional step out drilling planned? I know we already touched on this, but good to get on it again.
Okay, I didn't got the last portion of the question, but I got the first one. So
yeah, the last one is, if it was data, do you have additional step out drilling planned?
Okay, that's a great question. So first of all, most people will say follow your guts, right? But I am a scientist, I am a geologist, and the person that is running our program, it's a very, very highly skilled geologist. He's called Guillermo Peralta. Guillermo, it's a very, very highly skilled geologist. He has worked in Fruta del Norte, in Lobo Marte. He was part of the discovery team of Cerro Negro from Goldcorp. So we are data-driven people. Our gut might make a lot of noise. It makes a lot of noise, but that's because of the food that we eat, not because of the feelings that we have. And we are data-driven people. And that's the key behind this, that we have a company that has acquired a project that came up with a huge data package. And that data package was not properly processed. We find a lot of information there that was not properly processed, and a lot of information that was not processed with modern tools, with modern technology. There was no 3D modeling leapfrog. There was no maps made by IOGAS and so on. And we are putting all this together. We are working out the data, and the data is giving us results, and it's pointing out where to go and what to do. And that's what we are doing. We did a lot of work at the very beginning. We spent like 4 months working on acquiring new information like TerraSpec, Halo. Those are actually very specific studies on alterations, which are telling you what's the temperature inside the deposit and where we should go. So mostly data driven. It's because we have been doing the homework. We have been doing the right homework, and that's why we are getting the results that we have. To the second question, if we have a more step outs plan, we did. With these results coming out today, we have more for sure.
Great. Watch the space. More is more. That's fun. So Salasin from the chat asks, so they realize this is a silver play. Just touching on something you said earlier, when are you going to address the gold potential in the property? And they also thank you for your hard work and say it's tough to find a mining company that doesn't just talk but takes action. So I thought I'd share that too. But when do we start looking at gold seriously at El Cavar?
Well, I appreciate a lot the question, but I appreciate mostly the comment that this person is doing. What's the name of the person? If I
Salacin 2000.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for saying that, and I really appreciate that. We are committed with our shareholders, and we are committed with the work that has to be done. I am a true believer that this industry is a little bit broken. There are plenty of companies in the market, and many of those companies they don't comply with the logical steps of the industry. Some of these companies they want to shortcut the steps. There is a very old recipe. I always say that this is the oldest industry in the world. I think that probably 2.5 million years when the old people start to looking for rocks to make tools in ancestral times. That's when mining started. And actually, it's a very old industry, and people is trying to skip steps, and they are failing and failing and failing because they just skip steps. We are doing the proper job of putting the information in the right place, working it out, and go step by step, trying to make new discoveries or try to get drill holes as the one that we target 70 meters away from the existing resource, and we hit successfully. To your question about gold, we have seen in soil data, so this is soil samples. This information, it's distributed on a grid that has been made, and these soil samples have been taken on surface. This soil grid is telling us that while silver is fading away on soils on the surface, while silver is fading away, gold is starting to pick up. And this is happening towards the center of one of these erosional windows that we have in the project. So one of these erosional windows, which is one of these volcanoes that had been decapitated, might have all the epithermal system preserved and might have portions of this gold system preserved there. We need to pursue those targets. Hopefully, we will be addressing that during this summer with more surface work, and the sooner we can drill there, the better it will be. We are not drilling because, as I said before, our gut feelings. We are data driven, so when we are sure that the data is telling us that we need to drill in certain areas, we will do it. But the potential for gold, it's obviously there. There are drill holes, historical drill holes with gold in the property. And I believe that that will be also a game changer if positive in the future. If positive in the future, that will be a game changer for El Quebar.
Great. There's one question about the upcoming midterms in Argentina, which I believe are in October. And Simon from the chat asks, is there a chance that the results of those elections can affect Argenta's operations?
No, zero.
Great, that was easy.
No, I would like to expand a little bit on that. Javier Milei, he didn't have any support in the Congress until now. So why if he lose would affect things? Things might get a little bit difficult in political terms, but the people it's supporting a change, and that means not coming back to what it was before. We might not have Milei in the future, in 2, 3, or 10 years. We might not have Milei, but I don't think that we will have what we had before. And this is because I see the change. I have been living for 4 years in Canada, and what I see from Argentina is that there is a real change in the behavior and in the people mentality. So I don't think that we are coming back to what it was before. I think that it's going to be something similar like Milei or better, but not what it was before. And I think that these midterm elections are not going to affect at all this. And something that I want to mention, Romeo, as well, is that the biggest winners in Argentina are the ones that have been there for the last 20 or 30 years, despite any change in politics, despite any change in social issues, in social problems. They didn't leave the country when things went down, and they have been working all the time there. I can mention them. It's the group of companies from the Grosso Group, the group of companies from Rob McEwen, the group of companies from the Landin family. So all these are very, very successful companies and very successful families. Pan American Silver, these companies, they never left the country on the ups and never on the downs. They always stood there. They understood how to navigate politics, how to navigate the economic hurdles of the country, and that's how they became so successful. Argentina has a lot to give, a lot to give. It's super rich. So don't go, because the award, it's much bigger.
Oh, that's a great note. Appreciate that. There's a question from the chat, Marcel. He says that the CEO of Dolly Varden, Sean, pointed him to Argenta and said it was love at first sight. He's curious, how is Dolly Varden or Sean connected to Argenta or yourself?
So Dolly Varden is not connected to us at all. Dolly Varden is an independent company to Argenta Silver, as whatever other company in the world. I used to work for Dolly Varden before, and Sean Kunkun and myself, we work in the Fiore group. This is the group led by Frank Justra. And in August last year, I identified the economic problems or the financial problems that the previous operator was having with El Quevar. When I identified those issues, I realized that the company was in distress. That company was in distress. And that's how I brought the idea of acquiring El Quevar into the Fiore group. And that's when Frank Justra, Sean Kunkun, and myself, we put together this and we created Argenta Silver. And that's how, Sean, it's related to us. In the Fiore group, there is a lot of support. And I feel very supported by the group, by Frank Justra, by other people. Our advisors are Willem Middelkoop and Stavro Casaneva. So these are our advisors to the board, and we obviously listen a lot to them. But we also listen our biggest shareholders who have a lot of experience in the market and who also, are the owners of the company at the end of the day. With everybody else that owns a share, if you have ownership, we always like to hear you, to hear your thoughts. We are here for that. We are managing the company, but we are also here to listen to our shareholders.
Awesome. And Kolja from the chat says, thank you, Joaquin, for your effort. Just great. And I will thank you for having this interview. I think it was really, really useful. And I appreciate you always willing to answer everybody's questions. So it's always, I think, helpful afternoon. So Joaquin, thank you so much. Everybody in the chat, thank you. If you have any additional questions, please do shoot through. I'll make sure that the Argenta team gets them. But Joaquin, thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you very much to you, Romeo, and to everybody else. Don't wait to ask questions, and please keep following us on social media, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, because we will have many more things in the future for sure. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.